Good evening. I'm attorney Roy Miller at the Adopt a Role Model in Macon, Georgia, as we celebrate this wonderful Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. Thank you to Adopt a Role Model, as well as founder and director Ms. Tina Denard. Also, I thank all of the listeners on this Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. Today I come to deliver a speech on this Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, defining who Black people were yesterday and who we are today. I began by asking every Black person within the sound of my voice to repeat after me and say this to yourself. Aim higher. I am better than I think I am. Aim higher. I am better than I think I am. All races are connected in somewhat of a marriage by God, and God did not give us an option of divorce. During our brief experience called life, God requires that we love each other and learn to live together. I look back and I won't just tell you what I read about, but I'll tell you what I saw and observed during my life. When I was young, most every Black child in our elementary segregated school attended church regularly, or at least occasionally. There were lots of racism and discrimination outside of Black neighborhoods, but for the most part, Black youth felt safe within their surroundings. When Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., President John F. Kennedy, and Malcolm X died, people cried. I can remember the sad look on parents and teachers' faces when the report spread that the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King had been assassinated and he died. There were anger and fires set and chaos, similar to when an ant colony loses its leader. Still, the momentum for love between the races had already begun, so there was hope. In the 1970s, racism was being defeated. Civil rights, love for humanity, and equality began to grow out of the graves watered by the tears. Over the graves were Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., President John F. Kennedy, and Malcolm X lay. In almost every Black home, you saw a religious symbol on the wall or on the living room table before you could hardly get through the front door. The Temptations and James Taylor and Carole King and Stevie Wonder were making songs about peace, love, and friendship. Blacks and whites waved to each other the peace sign like this often. James Brown raised the pride and self-esteem of every Black child when he led them in chanting, "Say it loud, I'm Black and I'm proud." Prior to 1970, Blacks were not killing each other. In fact, the phrase Black on Black crime did not emerge until later in the 1970s. Our young men were predominantly decent veterans coming from a cruel Vietnam War. The phrase Black on Black crime emerged after the Vietnam War in the 1970s. Used by Black media and figures to describe intra-racial violence in urban areas, appearing first in publications like the Chicago Daily Defender. The love that existed in black families and black communities was greatly challenged when prayer was taken out of schools and when so many men died or became handicapped or had mental problems during the Vietnam War. Returning home, racism still existed. An even playing field never existed for black veterans, where whites still owned everything. Still, black fathers and husbands still had to compete and survive against white men, even though the playing field was not even. It has never been even. Our men respected and protected our women and children. Black veterans of the Vietnam War were strategically pushed out of their homes after their return. Welfare replaced black fathers in homes. Black fathers were forbidden to live with their wives and mothers of their children. Hard times increased. Welfare was needed and deserved, yet welfare was used as a double-edged sword. Black families were led mostly by black Vietnam and World War II veterans that found competing with white men very hard on an uneven, segregated, and racist playing field. The black men of the 60s and 70s that are put down so badly by those writing history were in reality veterans that were set back further in life and in home ownership as a result of defending their country in a war. Black veterans never returned home to equal opportunity in employment. In fact, they were forbidden many jobs that only hired white men. Poverty and crime were predictable. Black poverty came, and so did integration. Through integration, for the first time, black youth saw how much better life was financially and environmentally for their white classmates, and how much more white parents had than white parents. Wherever you find great poverty, there too will you also find great crime. America knew that by placing blacks in great poverty, great crime would eventually happen. Blacks wanted more, and many frustrated and demoralized black youth started demanding equality. An overfilled balloon was about to burst. Many black youth believed, and still believe, that based on America's racist history, equality in living conditions cannot come without committing crimes. For many blacks viewing the historically uneven playing field, stealing has been an equalizer. Selling drugs was seen as a financial equalizer. Even robbing and killing to get what were needed were seen as equalizers. Today, many heartbroken black youth believe less in God than they do in Santa Claus. It's hard for many youth to hear the word love said to them and believe that people really love them. After all, it were their elders that prostituted them, turned them onto drugs, committed domestic violence against them and others within their homes, and then proudly referred to their own black women and children as B's and H's and N-words. With integration came the freedom for many blacks to treat blacks as blacks had been treated by whites. Prayer was taken out of schools. This hurt blacks most because for all of our existence in the United States of America, God was all we had to keep us holding on. God was the glue that held our families and our people together. At the same time, racism increased more and rapidly spread among many gullible whites like a disease. The era had sadly passed where Black America was filled with pride and integration happened and love softened the hearts of black and whites that had seen enough racism, had seen enough injustice, and had seen enough hate. Today, racism has returned with a vengeance as God watches and he observes. How do we make Black America better for black youth and reduce their incentive to commit crimes? First, we must make all playing fields of competition equal. We must eliminate the incentives through poverty for black-on-black crime. We must finally award to Black Americans their equal proportion of land in America. Black slavery in the United States began in 1619 with the arrival of the first enslaved Africans in Jamestown, Virginia. For over 400 years, whites have owned everything and blacks have owned nothing. Black Americans must earn each other's trust and resist the lifelong divider known as adultery. Black Americans must stand together against anyone disrespecting our women and our children. Black America must stop feeding the music and entertainment industries that pay our own people to disrespect us and degrade us with the B word and the H word and the N word. Preachers must stop robbing our elderly, sick, and poor while pretending to do it in the name of God. Most of all, Black America must hear God's call to come back home. We in Black America must reclaim the phrase, say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. And we must teach our children to say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. In conclusion, I say to all of our black youth, I love you. Please stop the killing. Stop the hating on one another. And don't give up on God. God loves you. He's loved you from the start. Aim higher. You are better than you think you are. And always say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. Thank you, and may God bless every one of you.